Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. So this is going to be a new kind of video I haven't done on the channel before, but recently I was talking to a good friend of mine who mentioned that I was pretty good at giving advice. So I thought I'd test this and I put the word out on one of my community posts to write in if there's anything that I could help you with. So full disclosure, originally I was going to record this video next week, but as soon as I saw this email, I wanted to move it up as soon as possible. So I've actually been taking a couple days to think myself, kind of turn it over in my mind to offer this person my best and most thoughtful advice. So guys, as we get into this one, feel free to use the comments to send any advice that you may have or to offer some words of encouragement as well. I'm sure this person would appreciate that because they are going through it. So just before we get started, I want to thank this person for sending this in and trusting me with something so personal. It does mean a lot. So I have a couple of different things in front of me. One is the actual email, and I've also prepared some notes just to, this is too important to shoot from the hip on. So the email starts like this. I just saw your post about giving people advice, and I thought I'd give it a go. Before starting, I'd like to say that you make great videos, and I'm always happy to see a new upload from you. And you're just so authentic. Keep it up, man. Thanks, dude. Really appreciate that. So, guys, I'm not really someone that makes a big deal about the things that I do, but just know that a lot of care and effort goes into everything that I put on here. So, if you haven't done so already and you want to support that, definitely subscribe. So, my problem is a bit weird, complicated, etc., but here it is. So, you are in luck, good sir, because along with awkwardness, weirdness is one of my specialties. I have just recently broken up with my fiance. We were together for over 6 years. Dude, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I still am living with her in our apartment that her family owns. I'm originally from the US and currently live in Latin America. We are still on decent terms, but often get into fights about the little things. It's bad for both of us that I'm still here, as we both need to start moving on. But this breakup is like a divorce, and the logistics of me leaving are daunting. To even be on decent terms with someone in this scenario shows a ton of maturity, so be proud of that. Even worse than logistics is my general outlook on life moving forward. I have no home elsewhere, no real friends, no strong family connections. I have no real reason to stay in this country and no reason to leave it either. I invested so much into this relationship and lifestyle, spending loads of money renovating and contributing to our home and our life. And now it's something I need to walk away from. And the breakup is my own decision. It's not like she broke up with me. Our relationship has just become extremely bad for both of us over the past few years. First of all, I think you should take a moment to appreciate that even though it didn't work out, you took a risk in the end, and not everyone can say that. It takes a special kind of person to invest this much in a relationship. So I'll level with you. There was a time in my life where I could have potentially done the same thing, but I'll be honest, I chickened out. So to have the follow through on that is something that not everyone can say they did. To be honest with you, I don't really think it matters who initiated the breakup. It's one of those things where there's pain on both sides, and I think it's something that we kind of mention to sort of trick ourselves into thinking that we're okay, especially when we're not. But your instincts, at least in my opinion, are correct to move on. I know you said you were on decent terms, but probably best to move on before it becomes too toxic. In the back of my mind, I think about going to live with my parents, but I would really hate that, and there's currently no space for me to stay. They moved out of my family home while I was abroad and now live somewhere else. I'm also 29 years old and can't for the life of me see myself moving in with them again. Also, I'm not very close with them, and to be honest, there are some scars in that relationship I'd rather not get into. But basically, it'd just be an uncomfortable living situation for many reasons. So this is interesting. You're 29. We're very close in age. I'm 30. And I think that there is, sort of an instinct to go back into sort of the things that are familiar, even though we know that they're not right. But healing is the most important thing right now. And if there are scars in that relationship, maybe it's something that you can repair further down the road, but it's not going to be good for you. So I wouldn't advise that you do that. It's like moving from one painful situation to another. First, it should be about healing from this breakup. And then if it's something that you want to pursue, you can always, maybe talk with your parents, sort of patch up this other relationship in your life. I can move somewhere else in this country, but I'm not exactly sure where I would go. I was thinking about moving to the capital city, but it's a bit expensive. In other cities, I could save money, but there would be less to do. Looking at going home to the US is daunting. It would be too expensive for me at the moment. I work online doing freelance and get paid well, but I just haven't had the motivation to work hard at it for quite some time. I have been depressed, felt lost, and overall, I'm just not enjoying the work or seeing it as something that I want for my future. It's interesting for me reading this because I do feel like we're similar in this way where we've identified some problems that we'd like to fix, and we always feel like we have to take them all on at once. And it's just daunting to do it that way. The problems, you look at it, they're stacked up in front of you, and it's just like trying to get over a mountain. But it's not, it shouldn't be like that. That's exactly how you want to make yourself feel overwhelmed. I can see where you're coming from with this. It's an incredibly stressful living situation for you right now. And I think once you move out, you'll be able to sort of reevaluate how you're feeling about work, your life in the future, when you aren't dealing with the stress of living with an ex. Give yourself a little bit of forgiveness. I think we're both very similar in this way, where sometimes we just don't feel like we deserve it. You did the best you could with what you had. It's not like we can see into the future. Either way, when I imagine myself living alone here or there, I just question what's even the point. I have no idea where I'm going in life. I'm generally a pretty happy person, but I'm at this crossroads where things look bleak. And it's this uncertainty that has kept me living with my ex unhappily for weeks now, instead of just moving out like other people would. To be fair, man, this isn't a very typical scenario. It's much easier for other people to move out when, they're in the country that they reside in already. But I think so much of problem solving is mindset. So I'm not saying that this is going to be something that's easy to do, but all of these different things that you're talking about, instead, maybe start to think about them as, I have a real opportunity to find freedom and peace. And it's something that's going to be difficult. It's something that is daunting, but I can break it down into smaller pieces. And I know on the other side of this, I'm going to look back on it and wonder why I even doubted myself. But it's making a commitment to change a little bit at a time, and then these little things add up into big things at the end. So dudes, I've said this already, cut yourself a break. Give yourself a little bit of forgiveness. You're being so tough on yourself. And we'll jump back to the email. But it's like, where should I be when I have no connection to anyone or anywhere? My relationship was suffocating in many ways. We were each other's worlds and future, and now that that's over, I need to start again with nothing. I used to listen to a lot of Pete Holmes' podcast, and this actually reminds me of something that he said, which I use in my own life now as well. But basically, you want to picture your life as a TV show, and although we go through difficult things, this is definitely one of those things. Just think to yourself how great of an episode this is going to be when we're on the other side of it. And it just kind of removes you from the situation for even a moment. And it's something that always does make me feel better. I know I keep coming back to this, but I feel like I'm the perfect person to talk about it. But just the value of mindset and finding times to talk to yourself in a positive way, I'm here to tell you it has such a difference in your life. And, maybe you were like me when I was younger. You would hear people say that and you just kind of dismiss it. You're like, there's no way that really makes a tangible difference. But I'm telling you that it does. I'm ready to move on and see other people, but I don't want to get pulled into another relationship. That wouldn't be good for me, and I'm sure at this point it wouldn't be good for anyone else. I could take some time and travel around Latin America or other parts of the world. I have some savings, but I don't know where I would put my stuff. Desktop PC, monitor, loads of clothes, perhaps some furniture, as I have no home base. Most of the stuff that I own will become hers. This pains me, but it's just how I feel it should be, and I don't mind walking away from it. I do, however, feel compelled to take those things that I mentioned with me for work and life. I feel like I need to take some time and figure things out and find myself. At the same time, I don't want to just take a big vacation or drift around or anything like that. Whatever my next step is, I want to make sure it spurs growth and recovery. I want to do whatever it takes to make things more clear and find some purpose. Okay, so a couple of different things. First is absolutely do not get into a new relationship right now. I know we don't know each other that well, but you are not ready to see other people. And besides, healing should be the most important thing right now. And no one wants to be in a relationship with someone who hasn't healed and isn't ready for that commitment. And I just can't emphasize enough how that is sort of the most important thing to do in this moment. I also don't really know what it's like over there, but maybe if you do want to take a trip, which I think would be a good idea, maybe you can find a storage facility or something like that to put your things, at least temporarily, until you find sort of that home base that you were talking about. Also, I do think you're putting too much pressure on this trip and you're trying to figure out everything all at once, and it's just not like that. Having a trip, finding yourself, it all happens in these little moments rather than all at once. So if there's somewhere that you've been thinking you want to go and it would be fun, then do that. But it's these things reveal themselves in time. So do the things that you enjoy. Find those things, and then eventually, at least in my experience, these little things add up into bigger things that sort of point you down a path that you want to pursue. But this is another thing that I can't emphasize enough, is just this isn't something that happens overnight. What we're talking about is purpose. There are people who have been looking for and finding their purpose their entire lives. It's not just something that can get compacted down and just fit nicely into your plans. I don't know, man. I have options. It's just so daunting to go off facing the world alone with no connections, no real goals, no path, etc. I realize my attitude towards this problem isn't the best. It's just been a tough couple of years, and I'm in a weird place now emotionally, mentally, career-wise, and financially. Hey, man, that's a lot of things to be going through all at once, so I definitely feel you. But just do me a favor, find some time to speak positively to yourself. Talk to yourself about the things that you like about your personality, about you. That is just so important. When I'm facing difficult problems, I like to journal. Maybe that would help as well. But if I can circle back to what I was saying earlier, these are a lot of different things. And I know it is like you're looking up a mountain. There are all these different things sort of stacked up against you. But these are the challenges that you're facing. And there is good news here. You have so many different options. I know with freelancing, let's say you could be anywhere in the world. It's so important to just be like self. I have options. I am going to pursue the things that I want. I have the freedom to do that. And that is something that not everyone can say. So remember, all these things start with small steps. And dude, I like the mindset that you're developing at the end of your email, and I know that you can do it. We are just at the end here, but this email ends with, "That's a lot to throw on your plate, but if you end up touching on this in a video or something, I'd really love to hear your advice. Clearly, if I'm reaching out for help to a complete stranger, I'm in need of some assistance." Oh my goodness. Guys, that is one of my favorite qualities in people, is even when times get tough, to have a sense of humor about things. So, this person's going through it right now. So, guys, if you haven't done so, if you have any advice, if you have some words of encouragement, this person, I'm sure, would love to hear it. So to that person, I would say that just because I am making a video on this, don't think that this is where it ends. If you want to write to me again, feel free to reach out. I check that email pretty often. So guys, this was a bit heavier than a lot of the other videos that I normally do. So I'm not going to say that I hope that you enjoyed, but maybe it was helpful to you. So guys, I will talk to you later.